Welcome to the Fort Lauderdale real estate market update for October 2024, single family homes edition. The median price of a single family home in Fort Lauderdale is now $579,000. That's up from $506,000 this time last year. My name is Casey Prindle, your Fort Lauderdale Realtor. If you've been considering buying or selling a home or any other type of property in Fort Lauderdale, best thing to do is go ahead and give me a phone call, 786-443-7203. If you're too shy to call me, you can text me or you can email me at caseyprindle@gmail.com. But one way or another, go ahead and get in touch with me sooner rather than later, honestly. I'm reasonably entertaining to talk to, and I don't think I'm that scary even though it's Halloween. Stick around to the end of the video where I will give you some of my thoughts on the market and maybe some thoughts on life in general. Data is going to run 30 days behind. That's why you're going to see things from September that are presented as the data. It takes about a month to compile all of it. All right, ready kids? Here we go. $579,000 median sold price of single family homes in Fort Lauderdale. I don't pay a whole lot of attention to median sold price. I think there's much better statistics. Those of you that have been listening to me for a while know that. Specifically, number of properties sold and months of supply, I think, give you a much better pulse on the market than median sold price does. That being said, $579,000, I don't think in many markets is considered a luxury price point. It certainly is not in South Florida. But all you hear about in Fort Lauderdale is the luxury market. I think this goes to show where the market is transacting is not at that super high level. I think what this means for a lot of buyers when you look at this is there are a lot of properties that are much more approachable in terms of price than kind of if you just look at a headline and think Lauderdale is a wildly expensive place. So just something to kind of point out there a little bit. All right, number of properties sold, 117. Let's find the year over year. Here we are. From 166 down to 117 year over year. So not a huge shock. We're down year over year. You look at this from May, from 204 sales down to 117. Pretty precipitous decline. I would say we're definitely on the lower side of this chart, right? I mean, we lose another handful of sales and you're down here by the lows on the 5-year. The single family home is more buoyant than the condo and townhome market is in Fort Lauderdale right now. You know, that's a condo and townhome is a really concerning market. But for single family homes, if you're a seller, this is not great news. That being said, I will go into this more at the end of the video, but we just sold one of our houses in Lauderdale, and I didn't have any problem selling it. We sold quickly, but I'll kind of go into the details and what my strategy and thinking was as we get to the end of the video. So anyways, for right now, 117 sales, down on pretty much all metrics. I don't see this shooting back up, but we will see what happens. All right, average list to sales price. You know, I'm going to be honest, this isn't terrible. Only about 3.5% off asking price. Now, for those of you that are new, where this comes from is where a person originally listed their property and where it's sold. This is the deduction in this case, the difference between where it was originally listed and where it's sold. Now, that can happen in two ways. One way is a listing can drop in price. Say it was listed at $100,000, they drop it to $96,700. And a buyer comes in and pays full list price there, you're going to see that reduction. Or it could mean that it was listed at $100,000 and a buyer came in and was able to negotiate the 3 1/3% off price to get the resulting 96.7%. Now, I do want to say this. This number is going to look different across different price brackets. Let me show you what I mean. All right, I'm going to look at my phone. A little strange. I got to take off my glasses to see things close to me. About to be 48-year-old eyes don't work the way they did a bunch of years ago. All right, so there are 932 single-family homes actively listed in Fort Lauderdale as of the time of this recording, which was October 29. 169 of those homes are priced below $500,000. Now remember, median price is $579. 458 priced over $1 million. So 169 below 500, 458 over $1 million, right? So you tell me, who's got more room for negotiation? The person shopping around where there's 169 listings for sale, or the person who's got 458 listings for sale? Fairly obvious, right? So the market's going to feel tighter, and you're going to get less movement on price based on pricing bracket. So that's kind of why I think it's important to look at that number. Days on market, 44 days on market. Now and again, this is going to get dragged up or down depending on your price bracket. So this is an overall, not an absolute, but we are at 44 days on market. For those of you new to this, that is how many days a property was actively listed, not how many days it went from active listing to closing. It's the days it went from active listing to pending. So you have to add on 30 to 45 days on the end of this to get an idea of when your property would actually close and when you would get money in your bank account, which, on average here, we're looking at 90 days, median-wise, not average-wise. But again, it's a really important thing to watch in terms of if you're a seller, you don't want the number to come up here. If you're a buyer, you do not want the number down here. I will tell you from working with more sellers than buyers, I think this number is going to continue to drag up because when buyers come to see a listing that I have, they will look 30 days later and they see it's still listed. There is no pressure for them to jump in. Now, I do think some pressure may come a little bit. Interest rates have been ticking up. I'll go into that at the end more, but, Fed cut rates and the 10-year went up. Rates got worse, or went down, sorry, and rates went up. So, this could have some buyers say, well, wait, I don't want to keep standing in front of this train if rates are going to keep going up, but we'll see if that plays through. Oh, median price per square foot, my nemesis. I say that jokingly, not only because I don't really like to look at the median price per square foot because I don't think it's altogether that useful, but because this is also logical, even though sales are going down and median price is going up. It's what I keep saying again and again is people are buying the good stuff. The stuff that's transacting is transacting at a higher price per square foot because it's in better condition on the whole. Go to any of my prior videos for probably the last year and you'll hear me talk about this. So I don't want to just continue to slam this. Just know that, look, I think this chart is definitely in an uptrend, and I don't think the trend is going to change that buyers want properties that are in good condition and are renovated. All right, total dollar volume. Boy, is this concerning. We look to be sitting towards the bottom of this chart, right? Want to see something even more concerning? 208 million. September of 23. Exactly half where we are now at 104 million. This is concerning, but I think it does show something more than anything else, which is, look, transactions are taking place largely at a lower price point. The lower price point isn't going to add up as quickly in total dollar volume, right? So all of this makes sense when you kind of take a step back and you break it down. That being said, I think this shows you how weak market breadth really is. There's just not a whole lot of participants, not a whole lot of buyers around right now. So, if you're a seller, you need to know that and understand it's not market's not going to be as lively as you like. If you're a buyer, you probably already know by now you can pick your spots more. So if you have been considering buying or selling a home in Fort Lauderdale or any kind of property in Fort Lauderdale, give me a call, 786-443-7203. If you're too scared to call me, you can text me. If you're too scared to text me, you can email me, caseyprindle@gmail.com. All joking aside, easiest thing to do is call me. Not only am I wildly entertaining to talk to, but we can just cut through a lot of the nonsense and consolidate things down. It's better if you call me sooner rather than later. The faster that I get involved in your sales process, the easier it is for me to get value to you. The longer that you wait, if I have to come in the ninth inning, there's oftentimes not a whole lot I can do for people. So, all right, on to months of supply. All right, months of supply. So year over year, this is one of the lowest changes that we've seen in months. If you look back at my videos, only 10%, that's pretty low year over year. Means if you're a buyer, you have 10% more choices this time or right now than you did this time last year. If you're a seller, you want to see supply coming down. It means less competition. If you're a buyer, you want to see supply going up. Here's kind of my early thesis. I think a lot of properties are coming on the market and not selling. They're either canceling, withdrawing, or expiring. I don't know that those sellers are going to be anxious to put their property right back out on the market again. Certainly, if I was advising you, I would not tell you going into early November that it's a good time to throw your property on the market. Now, buyers, conversely, this is the greatest time of year for you to be shopping because nobody else really shops for properties November and December, and sellers don't see a whole lot of offers. So, look, supply rules the roost for me. Interesting to see it coming down. Certainly, if supply keeps coming down, sellers, it will be easier for you to sell. So I really want to keep an eye on where this goes. I think we get somewhere down around 4 months of supply. Then sellers are going to feel a whole lot better about listing than they do right now. All right, let's get into some of my commentary. Look, file this under practice what I preach. So we had a house in Lauderdale that we had to sell within this tax year for capital gains reasons, but I took my advice that I've been giving a lot of people when I talk to them about selling. I priced my house somewhere between 5 and 10% below where I thought it was actually going to appraise for. Now, you might look at that and say, I'm crazy to have left that much money on the table. I look at it and say, I look at a lot of listings that are just sitting right now and they're just not moving. And you got to do something to get your property to move. And my thing was I wanted to go on market and be priced more competitively than anybody else. I did not want to test the market. I didn't want to just wait and see what the market would do. I don't think that's a good strategy right now. Right now, if you're committed to selling, I think you need to go in, get aggressive, and do it. We ended up with multiple offers, and I think we were under contract in 16 total days, so less than half the median days that we just reflected here. Like I said, it's a painful thing to look at and say, I'm probably leaving some money on the table, but I don't have a crystal ball. I say that all the time. I wanted to be realistic about the marketplace in front of me, and I just thought my best move was to price aggressively. If you want to really see the details of it, you can call, text, or email me. I'll give you the property address. I'll talk you through the specifics of it. It is what it is, man. Today's market's a challenging one for sellers, and I learn a lot by being in this industry and watching all this data, and so I took my own advice. All right, I want to touch on interest rates. So The Fed came in, did a 50 basis point cut. Rates dipped down for a few days. And then all of a sudden they went back up. And a lot of people are calling me confused on that of, I thought rates were coming down. I'm talking to lenders and it doesn't seem like there's a whole lot of difference. Okay. So when the Fed came out and cut rates, they also said they didn't plan on cutting them aggressively going forward. And the bond market priced that in. Rates went the other way. Look, I don't know if that's going to change. I don't know if rates are really going to come down that quickly. I was hopeful that they were going to. All this is moving too slow. The cuts are too slow. I wouldn't hold my breath on that. And so this goes back into the advice that I always give. Look, if you're a buyer and you're worried about interest rate, there are workarounds that you can do. For example, if you know you can negotiate because the market is weak, then why not negotiate a seller concession into the deal where they're buying the interest rate on your mortgage down? This would have been unheard of a couple of years ago. I wouldn't have, if somebody had given me an offer where it had a seller's concession for a rate, but you're crazy. Market's too hot. Get out of here. Now, good strategy, perfectly logical. So I think you can get that double whammy of, negotiating off list price plus having a seller potentially pick up some of your interest rate reduction costs or all of them. So I want to plant that seed into your head if you're a buyer. And if you're a seller, I would encourage you, if an offer comes in, if I'm your agent, first thing I'm going to do is say to the buyer's agent, so what is your buyer looking for out of this? What are they, are they more driven by price? Are they more driven by their monthly payment? In our counter offer, how can we help meet your client's needs? And we're going to run through it. And I think that's a way that you get deals done right now, is not only being cooperative, but being flexible and think outside the box a little bit. And I think that this is one of the best ways to do that. All right, last thought of the day I'm going to have here is about insurance. Now, if you live in parts of Vic Park, Coral Ridge, you may have suddenly noticed that you're being forced to carry flood insurance when you hadn't before. A little bit of a surprise. A lot of properties in Lauderdale that didn't used to be in flood zones now are. Now match that up with a property's assessed value, which is likely up pretty hefty in the last few years, which means your tax bill has gone up. And I certainly know that your windstorm insurance has gone up. So you match all those things together, and that is causing a lot of sellers to want to sell. I would caution this. The reason that you want to sell makes it difficult for a buyer to buy. You're getting out of it because you're saying, I don't want to carry all these costs. This is crazy. Well, now you're asking a new buyer to come in and carry all those costs for you. So I think this is where you get some of the weakness in the market from, is if you're a seller, you have to consider what an overall payment of a buyer now looks like. The more that these ancillary costs go up, the harder it is for a buyer to buy. And that can help bring prices down, but it's not bringing them down for a good reason. Raising the taxes and insurance cost, it's not a great scenario, right? So I say this just because insurance does come up constantly, and I want to be sensitive to it, and I get it. But hey, that's what I got for you this month, guys. Please call me 786-443-7203. Let's talk about some real estate. Thank you for listening. As always, I really do appreciate you guys watching. I appreciate even more when people reach out to me and say, it's funny. I get phone calls and people would say, I've been watching these videos for the last year and a half or 2 years, or some of them have been reading my blog for 4 years. And don't wait. Call me sooner rather than later. Let's have a chit chat. We'll see you next month. Hopefully. I know I missed last month. Things got a little busy, but I try to do this each month. So we'll see you soon.